Today we're going to be doing a full tutorial of a mid-drop fade with a textured top and a good beard trim. So like, comment, share, and subscribe, and enjoy this video. He's got nice good curl waves, not super curly, but it's very loose curl, so it waves to the back. But we usually do a drop fade. So today we're going to be doing a mid-drop fade to the skin, and then we're going to fade it into his beard. We're going to line everything up, make it crisp, and I'm going to show you how we do that, as well as cleaning up the eyebrows so that he can go ahead and wear gym short t-shirts, or he can put on a tux. Either way, he's going to look clean as can be. So what we're going to do first is we're going to cut the top. Now he already pre-washed it, so it is damp, so I don't need to wet it. And a lot of times I do a lot of my cuts dry because I have a lot of dry shears. But today it is damp, so it kind of makes it a little bit easier to work with. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the shape. So we're going to go ahead and grab one of my dry cutting shears. It's a 6-inch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb this back. And instead of parting from the middle, I'm going to part 3/4 of the way in between the middle and the side. And disconnect the top parietal ridge with the rest of the haircut. So now I have this side part right here. Instead of the middle, it's on the side. But that allows me to get all this hair so we can build the weight and the shelf on the side of the hair. So whenever I do the fade and we fade up into it, it's going to be a nice easy blend, which gives us easier work for later on in the cut. So I'm going to bring this down. If you notice, I over direct down and I pivot my fingers a little bit. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come through just like this. That's cut. As I go forward, I over direct a little bit on an angle backwards, just a little bit, to preserve that length in the front. Do the same right here, over direct that front where the bangs are. I'll bring it right here. Now when I come back, we have this nice shelf. It's not too bulky, it's not like a disconnected haircut, it'll be nice and blended, all right? Now I can comb it back. We section this side as well, the same as the other. Comb all this down. So now we can go ahead and do the same exact cut along this parietal ridge right here. And like I said, what we're doing is we're moving bulk so we can create the base shapes that we can blend right into it. So right here, I pull it down. Cut that. Comb it back down. Get my next section. Over direct a little bit back to the previous section right here. And if you notice, I'll pull it down a little bit so I'm on the base, the bottom part of the parietal ridge. Follow my guideline. Over direct back and bring it down to the base of the parietal. Cut this. Bring the front piece of the bangs back. Now that's cut. So now we've created a nice easy shape, right? We can go through and blend. It'll be easier for us to fade into once the fading part comes. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate section from the middle part. And what I like to do is I like to start from the shorter length to the longer length. So I'll start in the back by the cowlick and I'll work my way front as I over direct back to preserve the length in the front of the hair. All right, so now that we have it sectioned, we're gonna start right here in the back and we're gonna work our way to the front and over direct back to preserve that length that we were just talking about. Now I'm gonna start in a pie section on the back where the cowlick is, because everything flows backwards. And if you notice right here, right where the end of the fade usually is, you can see that disconnect in the areas where we use the texture shears. I'm gonna pivot the top part of my hand out to preserve that square shape that we're still going for. And all I do is I do a vertical cut. Comb that back. Take another pie section, but this time on the left side. Now I pivot the top part of my fingers out. Cut that. Right where it stops and it meets, now I've connected the haircut. Comb this down. Nice easy blend, make it easy for us when we fade. So now as I go back to parting it, I'm gonna work my way forward. Over direct back. Right there. Right there, right where you can see the guideline. Take the next section. Over direct back. See our previous guideline right there. Now if you notice, we are at a slight angle. We're not completely square, we're at a slight angle because I like to go ahead and build that weight almost like a graduation cut right to the middle of the hair where the apex is. Over direct back. Over direct back. Now we're at that front bang area, right here where the guideline is. So a nice even cut right here on this right section. Okay, so right here over, we have that. And if you want to check and look at your corners, you could pull out the corner between the parietal ridge and the top that we just cut. And you can see right here, if you want to smooth that, all you do is you just trim that. Coming out right here. And this is just to give a soft square look instead of a hard square shape. So now we have our easy shelf. So now I'm just going to do the same thing over here. And if you ever want to try and mimic the other side and make it as symmetrical as possible, all you need to do, take about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch previous section on the right side that we just cut. Now you can go ahead and cut to the exact length starting in the middle. We pull the hair. Now we make our even cut. Take our next section. Angle a little bit. Angle your stationary hand right here. You can see the guideline right here. Continuously work forward as well as over directing back. Over direct back, right there. Now all we need to do is go to our corners. You can see right here, it's a nice square shape. Now we're going to soften that square shape. And as we soften it, we're good to go. Now that we went ahead and cut the top, set the shape, now we're gonna go through and we're gonna start our fade. Now, you can go one of two ways. You can line everything up with your trimmers first, or you can just start your bald line up after. It's really going to be preference. I have no problem. I'll show you both. So this side, we're just going to start with the lineup. And what I like to do is I like to start on the back side of the beard on the jawline. Angle it just a little bit. Use the back side of your trimmer blade when you're going up, lining in front of the ear. And on the back side, by the mastoid process on the back side of the ear, you're going to use the back side of the blade. Alright? So whatever direction you're going and you're leading with the back side of the blade. So all we would do is we would just start that line right there. He has a pretty good natural hairline right here around the C-cups. All I want to do is just make it a little bit sharper. So we have that right there. I'm going to come through. I'm going to set his beard line. I'm going to tilt and pivot the blade to where the front blade is leading the way, so the backside blade doesn't cut into what we just did. I'm going to pivot again. Use that backside of the blade. And we can come back through and use a straight razor to go ahead and clean that up. Now we're going to start the actual fade part. So I'm going to set my line. I like to use the ear as a reference, right? Different parts of the ear. If I want my fade to be really low, I use below the ear. If I want my fade to be somewhat mid, I use the ear low. And if I want my beard fade to be a little bit higher, then I'll go ahead and use the middle part of the ear right here. We like to do mid, so we do right above the earlobe. And if you notice, I'm not going straight up, I'm angling, because I like to protect some weight right here in the C-cup. And we like to keep it between low and a mid. We did talk about doing a mid fade. I like to keep it a little bit on the lower side of a mid fade. Right once you get above the ear is when you start your curve, where you descend back into the bone structure where the occipital bone is. So basically we're going dipping down right above the mastoid process, and then we're going to dip down. Now, on the back side, you can either do more pointed or you can do a nice curved line. It's really up to you for that weight. Right here, mastoid process is here. That's where I start my curve. Remove all that excess hair, brush off my canvas. Now we've set our official guideline. And then now we can go ahead and do the other side. On this side, I'm just going to set the bald line, and we're going to drop it and we're going to match the other side, and then we can come through and line it up. Set right here. Right above the earlobe. I pivot my trimmers to preserve weight right here. Pull the ear back. Start the curve right here as I round around the ear. As I'm going down, right when I hit this mastoid process, is when I'm going to start my curve towards the back of the nape. Brush all this off. And now I'm just going to hit my C-cup right here. So next, what I like to do, I like to take my JRL shavers. They're really soft. I really do like them. But I'm gonna go through. We're gonna bald out all the stubble on all the areas that we use the trimmer. Backside of the jawline. A lot of people like to do this last. It really doesn't matter. You can do it first if you like. I like to set my lines at the bottom first, so I know I don't have to go back and backtrack. And I just make sure I blend it in, tap it. You know, you don't have to make like a harsh line with these. It is easy to make a harsh line, but let's try not to. You're just gonna kind of fade up. Kind of the same techniques you would use with a clipper. Go around, get the bottom nice and smooth. Use the back side of your finger to test the area from which you've already used a full shaver. Go in different directions. Do the same thing on this side. A lot of times you can go downward too with the grain to catch anything. You want to make like a softer look. And you just come through right here on the cheek. Follow the line that you've created with your trimmers. But I usually start with my beard fade first. And my clippers, my lever is always closed when I start. Now I'm gonna start right here, and I'm actually gonna be going down. I'm gonna face down a little bit. Soften up that bald line right there. So as I soften this bald line, I'm gonna open it up 2 clicks. So as I soften this bald line, I turn them back on, open them up 2 clicks. Just going down. I'm going with the grain. I'll go on an angle. And we soften up our beard a little bit. I open it all the way, and at that same line, I chip using the corner of my clippers. Make it a little bit easier. And then for the rest, fully open. I just come down with the grain, and I hit those dense spots on the beard, whatever it may be, wherever. Continue to brush different directions because the hair grows in different directions. So on the actual drop fade, now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start right here. I'm gonna angle and I'm gonna follow the exact same line, the exact same shape, so that the fade becomes the exact same. I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna open up all the way. I'm gonna create a 1/4 to 1/2 inch area. I drop down, brush off my clippers. Now I have it closed. Now my clippers are closed. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tap this bottom line. Open it up 1 click. Barely tap the line I just hit. Make it halfway. I like the chip. Now I open it back up all the way and hit the same exact line, see if I missed anything. And that is how you start your bald line. Now we have no bald line, we have the bottom of the fade already started. Have my half guard. Put that on my clippers. I keep it closed. Go ahead and hit that line right where I was at. You don't have to go high, you just barely tap it to set your new guideline. Now all I do is I open it up all the way. I raise it up another 1/4 inch. I curve with the head shape. Now if you notice right here, there's bone structure that we're dealing with. So whenever you're doing a fade and you see dark or dense spots, it's because that's the bone structure and the head possibly dips right there, which gives the appearance that that hair is darker and thicker. But really, all it is a dip, which kind of makes all the hair kind of clump together. So what you do is whenever you do the fade, don't try and raise your line and sacrifice the shape for the shade. Instead, what you do is you manipulate that hair in that area with either a lower guard, or you go in and you chip with that guard but all the way closed. I'm gonna open this up halfway. Notice I'm chipping right here in those dense spots. Close it one. Just a little bit of detail. Open it up all the way again. Just to go back over the same line I've created for my guideline for the next guard. We're going to take our clippers closed. We have our one guard. Snap that on. Closed. Just tap the bottom line right here. Open it up all the way. Now what I'm going to do is close it halfway. With detail in between the open and the close, with it being halfway open. I go in different directions depending on the hair growth. I brush down. The 1.5. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this one closed. Start right here on that line. Now I'm gonna open all the way. I'm gonna chip right here in the front. And remember, as I'm going, I'm doing my C shape, I'm fading out a little bit. I'm nice and keeping everything soft on the top. I'm not digging in. Close it halfway. One notch, just a detail. Now we've created our fade. All we need to do now is take our texture shears and blend in. So we go from using guards from a 0 ball all the way to a 1.5 open, and then we use our texture shears to blend in the clipper work into the scissor work. We're going to take our comb, I like to use the fine tooth when we use the texture shears. And we're just going to use our texture shears right here to blend that dense line out. All I'm going to do is I'm coming on an angle, pivot my comb out, couple swipes, because you don't want to dig in and make a hole. And if you notice, I always come from underneath. I start, 1 or 2 swipes, pivot, get the ends. Come from underneath, hit any dense spots. So now we've completed this side, and this side is good to go. What I do is I just brush everything down, brush the eyebrows. Now we usually do a number 4 on the beard, keep it nice and short and clean, and then I basically taper from a 4 all the way up to this fade that we've created. And then for the mustache, he doesn't like it super thick, so what we do, we take a 1 guard, closed, and then we actually come through on top with the grain. That way right here, we're actually taking off all that excess hair. I brush, I'll come through on the soul patch area, I'll float with the 1 guard closed to remove any of those extra hairs that are poking out flyaways. A 4 guard. Kind of tip your chin up a little bit. Yeah. I take out all the bulk. A 3, and the 4 is going to be in here. I'm going to start on the cheek, on the outline of where the goatee would be. Open up my 3 to blend right into my 4. Same thing on the other side. Two. Right here, I started with the 3, I'm gonna move to the left a little bit. Do my number 2. Open it up into the 3. My 1.5. Stay right here by the fade. Open it up into the 2. Put on my 1 guard. Stay on the top part of where the fade is, by the temple. In the ear, open it up halfway, open it up all the way, right into that 1.5 that we just faded. Same thing on this side. Now I just brush the eyebrows. Just on the top. Now I come and hit the corner. All I'm doing is connecting it. And then now I hit the mustache. When the mustache is too bushy, we always come from the top. We don't want to go too far in and make it a pencil mustache, alright? All we do is we create the shape, separate the nose hairs from the mustache hairs. I start in the middle of the mustache. Now we set up this eyebrow. So what I like to do is I like to turn the head, set my corners by the jawline. Now a lot of times people like to make a nice like thick square look. That's depending on the face shape of the individual and how big the beard is. A lot of times with shorter beards you like them to like kind of match the jawline. It doesn't have to be all the way up here underneath the chin, but you do want it to be above the Adam's apple, okay? And I usually use the dip wherever the neck starts to curve from the jaw is where I create my middle line, and then I angle it up parallel with the jawbone. Now the jawbone is on a parallel angle. It's not just a square angle. It's on a nice sharp angle right here. So we're gonna make that line parallel with the jawbone. A lot of times I'll pull the skin away from the Adam's apple, so I'm not cutting right on top of the Adam's apple, because you can easily nick somebody like that. And then I just come through and I float my trimmers to get any flyaways. Turn that this way. Now I'm going to start this line as well, parallel with the jawbone. And now I'm going to connect this side to what we've already done. Get all those flyaways. And I'll position his head straight. Now I'm gonna check for symmetry. Up. If you need to, you can stretch your skin down, make sure you get all those stubbles with the full shaver going different directions on the neck. Hair grows wild on the neck, just so you can get a nice smooth surface. I'm gonna hit these corners of the mustache. I only use the edge of the foil to do so. I'm just gonna take my straight razor, and all I'm gonna do make for a nice smooth shave. We do the same thing here. I'm just keeping everything nice and smooth. You don't have to dig, you don't have to go press too hard. You let the weight of the straight razor really go ahead and just set the line for you. And then I like to come kind of from the side on an angle. To get all those hairs to make a nice smooth shave. And then the last finisher, we just go ahead. All right. And the last thing we do is we're just gonna go ahead and get these neck hairs here. So all I do is very lightly, I let the blade do the work and the weight of the razor. Stretch the skin out as taut as it can. Right here along the spine, you gotta be very careful. Very, very careful. You do not want to press hard when it's just skin covering bone. All right. Then we go to the other side. Wipe it. Use your towel. Dust the area. We finished the cut. Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put some products in, all right? So we got the level 3 leave-in beard conditioning foam. That is a client favorite here at our shop. It's also my favorite. I use it in my beard. It keeps it soft all day, keeps it smooth. Takes care of all that dryness. 1 to 2 pumps. It's all you need for the beard. You put it in the beard. Burn the mustache on the skin, it's okay for the skin as well. You want to work it all the way to the skin underneath. On the cheeks, you do on the sides where you fade it as well. Really work it in there. Make sure your finger doesn't go in your client's mouth. All I do is I come through with the level 3 beard brush. It's got softer bristles so it's not too hard on the skin. Come through, I'll just brush it out, all right? Make sure that's clean. Then we take the level 3 paste. It's got like a matte finish, but it also has a little bit of natural shine to it. It's good for straight hair, but I like it with a little bit of wavy hair if you don't want the hair to look too wet. And what I always tell people, treat the hair as if it was a paper towel and you're trying to get the product off your hands, so you can work everything through. And this will help with these curls as well. You can use curl cream, nothing wrong with that. I just wanted to go ahead and use the paste today, give them a little bit stronger hold, let you see these curls. Then we finish off with level 3 aftershave. Now this is the new scent that they have called Flame. It is pretty awesome. So what we do is we take this off. We've already razored and shaved everything. I like to do 3 pumps in the back. Good chin up. 4 to 5 on the front of the neck and the face. How's that smell?
Delicious. Like watermelons, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of like a watermelon, like a fiery watermelon. So now we got that. I'm gonna take this off of them, and that's it.